There's something about when a kid figures it out, when all of a sudden they get it. I had a boy who, before we went to the tide pools, thought that the sand on the beach had been brought by people who brought it in buckets. One of the docents was able to explain to this young man why there's sand on the beach. I want them to have an appreciation for nature. I want them to have an understanding of science. I want them to be happy in all that the world has to offer.
I saw a sea star and it was really cool. A lot of crabs. Yeah, we saw crabs. Some were alive and they were small.
And we found foam that are created by air.
Yeah, because animals are pretty amazing to see and they're pretty cool.
The thing I like best about the EVs is they walk in and the kids don't see them as volunteers, they see them as scientists, they see them as teachers.
Tell me what you think it looks like. It looks like a special type of bird's beak. What kind of...
So when they interact in the classroom, they have a leader that they can turn to who's an expert, and they know that these people are experts.
Look at the difference between what is this? Harbor seal and the sea lion.
Probably for the last 7 years, we've done the squid dissection. So this has turned into a rite of passage. So third graders, fourth graders, younger siblings all know about the squid dissection. They're always looking for, when do we get to dissect the squid? When we have the classroom presentation and they walk in, they are so amazed. We expose them to things that they wouldn't get in the normal course of the day.
Talk about whales. This is a vertebrate.
The environmental volunteers bring in gigantic forms of animal skulls. And the kids are looking at this, and all of a sudden they see the enormity of these creatures, and they're amazed.
So this is what a plastic bag could look like, floating around to a marine animal. It looks like a jellyfish. It looks like this, right?
Yep.
And if I were a sea turtle and loved jellyfish, what do you think I might do?
You might eat it and then you might
Right.
cook it.
Not every student is a book learner. So when children are touching and feeling and seeing things, and you're talking, and then they've got someone who is an expert on it standing next to them, guiding them through the process, they learn so much more, and they walk away with a real understanding of what they've seen.
For forest and foothills, one of the places we go is Stevens Creek. Field trips follow up the classroom activities. Every field trip has had some sessions in class where they go through some of the science, and then they get to come out here and actually hopefully see many of these things in person that they've learned about in class. Right there, see all these little, each one of these little things, each one of these has a seed. Okay, for a lot of them, in fact, this is a whole new environment that they haven't spent much time in. We found all kinds of interesting mushrooms as they're learning about the old stumps and the leaves decompose into nice rich soil that the future plants grow in. We found wild turkey out there. That's about the biggest bird I think we'll see out here. Where do the woodpeckers store their food? That hole? You see one over there? One of the wonderful things about the EVs is getting this chance to do these field trips. You listen to the kids at the end of the day. Wow, can we be out here for 3 more hours? This is the greatest field trip ever.
We saw the lizard. He looked like a brown and white. Turkeys. We saw a mushroom and turkey.
So we go out to the Baylands and see the wetlands and marshlands ecology out there.
I feel so fortunate to be with the environmental volunteers. Studies show that children in this digital day and age just are not spending as much time outdoors. And I think with that comes a loss of the connection you can make to your natural surroundings. So anything that I can do to get them more enthused about their world around them, I will do it.
Oh, guys! Guys, one of those things that opens and closes.
I think the Eco Center is very important to the community in that it helps bring people to this area that they might not otherwise come to. It's a fabulous place to come in and visit. They have the touch screens, which are interactive, and there's many bird mounds to see. And I think it's very interesting for children to come in and they can actually see the mounds, but then you can encourage them to go outside and they can go out and see the real thing rather than some of the mounds. It's a wonderful place to stop in and visit.
Sophia has a huge mouth. Does your fish have a huge mouth?
Oh, we have found our fish.
Top smell, very nice.
Right, so here's our leopard shark. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick it up and then I'm going to turn it upside down so we can see. So I want you to see its mouth. You can see its mouth and how it's at the bottom right there. It doesn't feel the same. How does it feel different?
For marine ecology, we go to Fitzgerald Marine Reserve, get to see the tide pools and then whatever critters that we find out there.
It was amazing just to go out and see when the kids got off the bus and they're like, okay, so where are the sea lions? And you know the difference between a seal and a sea lion. And they were referring back to the information they had learned in the classroom.
This is the first time a bunch of these kids have ever even been on a freeway. And so the EVs bring this opportunity to this whole spectrum of schools. It's a big, exciting experience for all of them.
It's called a mossy chiton. And he's one of the most primitive marine animals.
They go away with a lot of excitement and interest because they actually see this stuff they've been learning about in class. You know, you go back and you get the thank you notes from the kids. You know, dear John, thank you for taking us on this hike. I love to find the banana slug and see where it lives. They take away all these excitements.
And to touch and feel and see and hear are so critical to these children in terms of learning and appreciating. It's going to affect them for the rest of their life.
The environmental volunteers have a very important charter. They are simply trying to bring a love of nature and learning to school children. And these school children are our future.